What's your name?
Elsa.
I'm Hayden. Good to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So you said you're pro-life
For the most part.
for the most
yeah.
part, but it sounds like you don't think that a woman who takes pills to cause the death of her child in utero should be charged with murder. Or maybe you haven't thought through it and you just want to reason through it for now.
Sure, reason through it.
Okay. So my reasoning would be that if we believe the preborn are equally as human as born people and should be equally protected by law from being murdered, then right now, if my mother murdered me, she'd be charged with murder.
Yeah.
And so I think consistent treatment of all human beings would require that if a child in the womb is murdered by their mother, that mother also be charged with murder.
It's like, I don't know, it's so hard because like part of me is like, I understand that everybody has like certain situations where that might be the case. Like again, personally, I could never do it. But I think a murder charge is like I get what you're saying, like you have to be consistent, but I just don't know. I think murder charge is a little crazy.
Okay, so this might help me at least understand where you're coming from here. Would you say maybe a lesser charge, like say if a murder charge would have carried a 30-year imprisonment, maybe 2 years imprisonment or something like that, or a fine?
A fine, maybe? I don't know.
Okay.
I think prison's really harsh because it also, like, again, just because I personally wouldn't do it doesn't mean I feel like I necessarily have, like, I don't know that person. I don't know their backstory. Like, do I think it's wrong? Like, yes, but it's kind of the same concept for me. Like, if I see someone, like, stealing diapers, like, yes, stealing is wrong, but it's not, like, black and white.
But if you saw someone like come shoot me in the head and kill me,
Well,
you'd
I
say,
think that's way more intense.
you're not going to like this, but I would think that it's actually equally intense for like a D&E abortion where a child has their skull crushed and their limbs ripped off in the womb. I think that's like equally intense.
Yeah, I think the biggest issue is just people using abortion as birth control. Like, that I really disagree with.
So here's the thing though, I would say that every abortion is birth control. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to control
I
birth
know,
by not
but,
having
like,
it.
But I get, like, when it's, like, your own fault. But, like, for example, like, a child being raped. Like, I just don't think that, like, how are you going to give a 14-year-old prison time for dealing with something that would completely change and obstruct their life that they're not ready for?
Yeah, so I'd want to address that by saying that we treat minors who commit crimes differently than adults already.
That's true.
And
That's
so
true.
if we passed an equal protection bill that protected preborn human beings just like born human beings, all the same principal differences that we apply to minors who commit crimes against born people would apply to minors who commit crimes against the preborn as well.
But what about me? Because I'm 18. Like, so I'm 18, so I'm technically an adult.
Yeah.
If I were to get pregnant through rape and, like, I'm not financially stable, I don't have, like, necessarily someone that would be able to help me. Like, do you think that I should go to jail for doing that?
I think, so let's say that someone raped you, you get pregnant. I think the rapist should get the death penalty if he's convicted after a fair trial. But ultimately the child in this case, your
So,
womb.
wait, so you're pro-death penalty?
Oh yeah.
But
Big
not,
time.
But not, I thought pro-life was all, like, I don't agree with the death penalty. I don't think I have the right to play God for who should and shouldn't die.
I agree I don't have the right to play God for who should and shouldn't die, but I think God does. I think that he told us in his word that if someone murders someone else or rapes someone else, that they're to be put to death.
But did he say that specifically?
Yes.
Where? Can you show me?
Exodus.
You might be right. Okay, but that's Old Testament. There's a whole new set of rules in the New Testament that as Christians you're supposed to follow.
So when Jesus said, I did not come to abolish the law, but to fulfill it, I would view that as he's fulfilling some of like the ceremonial and purity laws of the Old Testament, like not mismatching fabrics, etc. And so those were fulfilled in Jesus Christ. Now, the judicial law, such as like, this is a crime, here's the penalty for it, of the Old Testament, was for a specific people for a specific time. However, I think we can reason from the principles that were given to them about what is moral and is not moral. And I think when we look at those principles, I think one of them would be if someone commits a wicked crime so heinous as raping a woman, that it's acceptable to take their life. And then for murder, I would look at like Genesis 9:6, where after the flood, God says that anyone who sheds the blood of man, by man shall their blood be shed. And that one, that's not part of the Israelites, that would actually predate the Israelites, and that one I would actually think is still binding today. And so I would actually say if someone murders someone else, I do think that the only just response from government is death penalty. But I do
Okay.
want to try to keep it on abortion if we can. Because even though we might disagree on
Yeah.
death penalty, if an equal protection bill passes, the reality is most women getting abortions aren't going to get the death penalty. Because right now, most murderers in general don't even get the death penalty.
Right. Just one more thing.
Yeah, go for it.
I view, like, because I'm Christian and I
Mm-hmm.
had to find it on my own, and I very much view Jesus like you love like Jesus. Like, despite what people do wrong, like, you love them for who they are. Like, I remember some guy was walking around with a shirt where it's like, love people how Jesus loved Judas.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't think that. It's hard. Like, I don't have an answer. I don't know. Like, it's also, I don't think there necessarily is an answer. Which
You
clearly.
don't think there is an answer?
No. I
Really?
think that like, obviously, I wish that every baby could be born and have, like, the ability to experience life. But that simply isn't realistic.
What do you mean by that? It's not realistic. Wouldn't it be
It's
realistic?
just not
Wouldn't it be
realistic.
realistic to pass a law that says protect all human beings equally? Like, why would that not be realistic? Sure, some people might break the law, but like the actual passing of the law, isn't that realistic?
Because, again, just because I don't believe in it, I think that the only thing you can ban, unfortunately, is safe abortion. And I know that that's terrible, but that just is the reality of our world. And so we can pray about it as much as possible and, like, aspire to be there. But, like, I mean, how old are you?
23.
Okay, do you have a stable job?
No, definitely not. This
Okay.
is not stable.
Okay. But, like they say, like, put kids up for adoption, but the system is so broken in every way. I wouldn't want my kid to go
But
up for adoption,
here's
but I
the
also
thing,
wouldn't
though.
be able to take
Here's the
care of
thing,
it for
though.
myself.
If I had, let's say I had a 2-year-old, right? And I just told you I do not have a stable income whatsoever.
Correct.
And so let's say with my 2-year-old, I reason financially I'm unstable right now, and life might be hard for this 2-year-old because I can't provide everything that they want.
Mm-hmm.
I might not even be able to provide everything that we would ideally want a child to have. We might call those necessities, maybe they're borderline,
Okay.
whatever. You would never reason from that it would be okay for me to then take the life of my child.
Absolutely not. So that's what I'm saying. I get what you're saying, but it also does, and it is different from a woman's perspective, especially if there are complications. Like, what do you think about complications in pregnancy?
Yeah, so if in order to save the life of the mother, you have to separate the child's body from the mother's body, and that results in the unintentional or accidental death of the child, I don't think anyone should be prosecuted. So that would just be a basic life of the mother exception.
I agree with that. Yeah, no, I really just wanted to hear opinions because like, in the retrospective things, I'm so small and I don't, I'm not going into law or anything. Like,
Okay.
no matter what I believe, it's not going to change anything.
I think I've got a question that might push you to my position. You don't have to take it, but I just want to hear your answer to
Okay,
it. Do you have a boyfriend?
I do.
Okay. Well, actually, I'm not going to use you. Sorry. Let's just say that there was a girl here and a boy here. They were dating, and the girlfriend got pregnant. And she wanted the child. She bought a baby crib, baby clothes, has a name in mind for the child. And then the boyfriend, when she's 10 weeks pregnant, smashes up mifepristone and misoprostol, puts it in her pancakes. She takes it, and it causes the death of the child. She later figures out that it was the boyfriend. Don't you think that boyfriend committed murder and that she should actually be able to bring charges against him in an ideal world?
Yeah.
Okay, so then
I do.
So my loving push to consistency here would just be, if it's murder when the boyfriend does it, then it's also murder when the mother does the same thing willingly by taking the pills herself, buying them herself, and intentionally causing the death of her own child.
I get the consistency, but, like, I can't, like, I don't have an answer. I can't explain, but it is not the same to me. Like, if she herself is taking them, it still is. The fetus is still in her body. It is still a part of her. But
Well, it's a different human being, though.
It is a different human being, but it's still, like, the life is attached to her.
Yeah, but
It's not attached to him. If it was, like, it is her body plus baby, but they are one. In that stage,
What do you mean by they are one? The child is dependent on the mother, of course.
Correct.
But so are newborns who are with their mothers. They're fully dependent on their mothers for their care. If the mother stops providing that care, that newborn would die.
Well, not entirely, because, like, if the baby for newborn immediately does go up for adoption, it doesn't have to be the biological mother.
Correct.
If you have a baby in your stomach, the only person that can care for that baby is the person whose stomach it's in.
The thing is, though, with born children, I think you would actually agree with me on this. This isn't a crazy perspective. I think most people would have this
Okay.
perspective that parents, in particular, we'll just restrict this to mothers because we're talking about
Okay.
abortion, that mothers are responsible for caring for their children until the point at which that responsibility can be safely passed off to another. So like a mother who didn't know she was pregnant and then gave birth in a snowstorm and is stuck in a cabin for 2 weeks before she can use roads to go give her baby up for adoption, I think you'd agree with me that that mother is required to provide care for that child until she can transfer that responsibility. And then I think if we applied that principle to the mother who's pregnant with a child in the womb that's fully dependent on her, that responsibility can't be transferred until after birth. So she would likewise be responsible for caring for that child until she can transfer that responsibility to another party.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, as much as I don't like abortion, the baby being out of the womb and in the womb is different. Like, I get the argument that it's not. It's still a baby. It still is the same baby. But at the end, like, it is different.
How so? I'm just gonna try to push you a little bit there. How so? How
No,
is it
like,
different?
I know because
Because to me, the difference is just location, like in the womb, out of the womb.
yeah, but that's still a huge difference. Like
I'm
carrying
not
a baby.
convinced it is.
Okay, carrying a baby in your stomach versus holding a baby in your arms is completely different. Do you agree or
Well,
disagree?
I actually think that it very much depends on the stage of development. So like carrying, yes, because I think you might even agree with this. Like carrying a child at like 2 weeks pregnancy, I think that's way less of an infringement on bodily autonomy than caring for a newborn child.
It is, but it's not inside of you. That's still going to make a huge difference. Again, and it's going to be different from a male perspective because, and that's okay because you won't understand. You'll never be able to understand, and that's fine.
I don't know if I would never be able to understand. That's maybe a little sexist. Obviously, I'll never be able to get pregnant.
Of course, you won't have.
Of course,
a
I'll
baby
never
in
be
your
able to get
stomach, so
pregnant.
You'll never
but
know what that feels like.
Yeah, but I can understand like the toll that it takes on a woman's body by like reading. Yes, I can't personally experience it,
Correct.
but it's like you may never experience being kicked in the balls, but you can still like read about it and understand that like yeah, there's a lot of pain involved, right?
Yeah, but I won't ever experience it.
Yeah,
is
so
what I'm saying.
I guess I think we're on the same page there. Maybe I misspoke a little bit, but what is like the principal objection? Because to me it seems like from a consistency perspective, you see my position as consistent. I think maybe you see yours as inconsistent.
I know mine is inconsistent. That's
Okay.
why I was curious to hear what you had to say because there are a lot of gaps in like my beliefs and my thinking because, well, I mean, obviously like I'm still growing.
Yeah.
I've never experienced an abortion. I've never even, I think, experienced anybody I know have one. So this is strictly like, what I hear from the media, what I hear from other people, what I hear from stuff like this. And I don't know if that's good enough for me to truly form an opinion, like all the way. And again, like I'm Christian, so I go to the biblical standpoint. And
I'm just curious, from the Bible, like, because my perspective
It
is
is-
that it would all support my position.
it would, but there's so much in the Bible that is different from today. And I think like taking it at full
But let's
face
restrict to
value.
like pregnancy, human rights, abortion, role of government. What is different today than like the Bible that would make you not want to criminalize abortion as murder? Keep in mind, with the exception for life of the mother.
Well, abortion is, I mean, think about it. Like, abortion's different now. Like, back then, they couldn't just take a pill. Like, it has been
So-
like, and I try not to blame people because it has been so normalized and it's so in the media. And, like, people do view that as, like, plan C. And I think that necessarily wasn't around as it is now.
Well, back then, they would sacrifice like their living born children to Moloch. And they would place their children on like Moloch's burning hot arms to kill them as a form of like child sacrifice.
Yeah.
Now, today, I think abortion is the modern form of child sacrifice. A woman might think, well, if I don't sacrifice this child by getting the abortion, then I'll have to drop out of school. So I sacrifice the child so I can continue to pursue my education. Or a woman might think, well, I'm pregnant, and if I carry the child to term, then I might have to miss a third of the WNBA season. And so instead, I'm going to sacrifice my child so I can continue to pursue my career in the WNBA and not miss 30 games or whatever.
Yeah.
So that would be my rebuttal to that, is that I think we do see in the Bible child sacrifice, maybe not abortion, because in biblical times they weren't exactly going up women's uteruses and crushing the skulls of kids and ripping them off, but they were practicing
Yeah.
child sacrifice.
I mean, I don't like, I definitely lean more towards that it's wrong, but yeah, I don't know. There's almost no situation that I can view it as black and white, just because like I choose, like in my head, to love others despite their decisions, despite their
That doesn't mean
views.
no justice, though, right? Like someone comes and rapes one of the women who's standing here, right? You can love that person, but you would still say justice for the victim.
You're right, but it's hard to compare abortion to another crime in my eyes.
Murder, I think that would be the easy comparison.
It would, but it's still like
Or even rape. Let's actually even do rape.
it's less gruesome, and it's still like
I don't know about that.
okay. There's a difference
D&E
between
abortion,
the pill abortion and
The pill's starving the kid to death.
pretty much
What would we think of a mother who starved her newborn infant to death?
that's terrible.
Yeah, we'd look in horror at it.
I know we would, but there's also a lot that happens during pregnancy. Like think about hormone changes. Think about like postpartum depression, like all that stuff. Like yes, it's absolutely awful if a mother harms her child, but it's not unheard of.
I know that it's definitely not unheard of.
And
'Cause
I
there's a
think
million
that, and
abortions
I
every
think
year,
that
but-
putting, even like a mom that is really struggling after giving birth, like if she were to harm her child, like yes, that's absolutely awful, but I still don't think that even if I was on a jury, I would send her into jail time.
Are you serious?
There's so much to consider, like postpartum depression and things like that take such a giant toll on you. And again, it's awful and it's super upsetting, but I don't think it's full malicious intent. And that's kind of the difference between murder and abortion for me, is like I don't think, like when you murder someone, you have something against them. I don't think when a mom has
just
an
real
abortion.
quick, I mean, murder, even if someone, let's say, isn't angry with me, but they come up to me, shoot me in the head, and the cops are questioning them. They're saying, well, did you hate this person? He's like, no. Did you even know this person? They're like, no. But then they ask, did you intentionally kill this person? And he goes, yes. That would be enough for murder. So it's not even necessarily about someone being angry or not.
But there has to be motive behind it. I don't know anybody besides like
Just
serial
intent,
killers
just
who
intent.
are completely like not right in the head.
So legally it'd be malice aforethought. So it'd be about intent. So someone might not have a motive against me. It could just be a random person. But if they come up, they intend to kill me, pull the trigger and kill me, that would be murder because there's intent there.
You're right.
Even if they had no reason for it, really.
You're right, but then I would say at that point, like that's psychopathy. That's like something's wrong with them, which I think that people like that need help. And I know that that's kind of like a stretch and a lot of people won't understand that. And that's fine. Like, I think we're all entitled to our own views. But yeah, that's my main difference with abortion is the malicious. Like anybody,
Okay.
when you hear the word murder, you naturally assume that I have class in 7 minutes.
Okay.
You naturally assume that there's obligation. There's usually mothers don't have any obligation against their baby to get rid of it. Like, I don't think that they're like, I hate this child, let me kill it. I think that it's circumstantial.
Yeah, one of the words that you just said that I think we should hone in on there is obligation. So I would think that mothers have an obligation to love and care for their children, and particularly legally, to provide them with a safe and healthy environment to continue to develop in. That would apply in the womb and out of the womb. For example, with neglect laws that require parents to actually care for their children.
Yeah.
And so when I just think of obligations, my primary obligation that I would be concerned about in regards to abortion is the obligations that parents have to their children. And I think that it's really sad when parents go so far as to deny that obligation to the point of actually intentionally killing their child, not even just neglecting them to death, but actually killing them directly through like a D&E abortion or the pills.
And it is a little, again, I still don't like abortion. I think it's
Yep.
gruesome. But, by the time your baby comes out, it has a personality. You have a different connection to it than you do when it's in the womb. You don't see the full repercussions. Like, the baby's not there yet. You haven't started taking care of it. And for people that have like massive, terrible situations that they're not ready for, or that could harm the baby, for example, addicts. If an addict gets pregnant and can't stop their addiction while they're pregnant, I don't know what I would want them to do.
Well, you wouldn't want them to murder the child, presumably, right?
I wouldn't want them to murder the child, but
Wouldn't we want them to get off the drugs, pursue the best interests of the child, so that the child's not harmed?
But again, that's not realistic.
Okay. Is there?
I wish it was. I wish it was realistic, that everybody would just take perfect care of their children and that they were stable and could provide a good life, but that isn't the case and never will be. So I think that having such a harsh law that's so black and white just isn't right.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to add or any questions you want to ask me before we wrap up?
I don't think so. I was just
Okay.
curious about your opinion.
Okay.
Okay.
It was a
Thank
great
you.
conversation. Thank you. Have a good one.
You too.